Hello and welcome to my live interview with the fabulous Daniella Wells. So Daniella is just pushing towards our final level of promotion within this business, and I've just got some of the questions that some of you have put to me to ask her on this live recording. So welcome, Danny.
Thank you, Sally, and everybody for joining us.
Yes, we're all very excited. Okay, so I'm just going to kick off with the questions then, Danny, if that's okay. So what made you join this business?
Okay, so I'll kind of give you a bit of an overview of my background, because I've not always sort of grown up wanting to have my own business, especially with Arbonne International. It wasn't like the dream as a child. My career, interestingly enough, was actually working in ophthalmology. So I worked for a popular high street opticians, did that for 7 years. That was my career and everything that I worked towards. Loved what I did. And then I'd say my life took a massive turn when my second daughter, so I've got two children, my second daughter was born, a very healthy pregnancy, but she was born with a brain hemorrhage and a stroke. And obviously anybody on the call that's got children will completely relate. She was my top priority, of course. So she needed around the clock care. To start with, she was in hospital, life support, and then it was intensive care, and then high dependency ward, and then eventually when she was discharged from hospital, she still had quite a lot of seizures. We were back and forth in hospital about 3-4 times a week for a very, very, very long time. So for me to fit in my 40-hour-a-week job at the opticians plus the commute there, it just didn't work. And me and my husband had a conversation where we said one of us is going to have to give up our jobs to be a carer for our daughter, if you like. So I decided to do that, and I left the opticians. Leaving that meant that I left my paycheck behind, and anybody that's on the call will probably know that when one of you drops your wage, you've still got the same outgoing. So we still had to pay our household bills, car bills, credit cards. So our bills were still the same, but we'd suddenly gone half with the income coming into our family home. So there was this massive gap where we needed to supplement that with an income, and everything that I looked at meant leaving my daughter, and I just couldn't. All the jobs, I kind of became unemployable because I needed to be completely and utterly available for my daughter. I didn't know when she was going to have a seizure or when she was going to have appointments. So I needed a laptop-based business, like a mobile phone business. And I looked and looked and looked at loads of different things. Some of them were thousands and thousands of pounds for these franchises. I didn't have that kind of money. And it was actually a friend that reached out to me, somebody I knew from my teenage years, and just said, "Hey, Danny, I can see what's going on in your life. I can see the struggles that you're having. I've got a potential business opportunity that I think you'd be interested to listen to." So I obviously was open-minded, and I was like, of course I'm going to meet you for coffee and have a listen. We sat down. This is 4 years ago now. We sat down. She told me the bare bones about Arbonne, but I was all in. And it didn't matter how little information she gave me. She literally sat there in front of me with a coffee and gave me a solution to all of my problems, which was building a business on my mobile phone, making my family my top priority, not having to worry that I had no time, not having to worry that I had no money. This was the absolute solution. So that was 4 years ago.
Oh, how amazing, and what a lovely refreshing reach out that was for someone like yourself. Did you have any reservations? Was there any reservations at that point when she reached out to you that you thought, I'm not sure if it was the right thing to do?
Yeah, I think I did, but they were so far in the back of my mind because this was the answer for me. So to be honest, I actually wonder why Emma told me about this. She was very selfless in meeting me for coffee to tell me, because actually I wasn't the perfect person for her to teach and train to do this business. I literally had no time, and the very little time I did have, I could have ended up in hospital because I just never knew when I was going back and forth. So when she was offering to teach and train me this business, I actually thought I was probably the worst person for her to pick to teach and train, but she obviously did it selflessly because she knew it would make a difference for me. But I had no time. I was in serious debt, and I'm talking big debt, massive debt. So I had no money to really get started with any kind of business, let alone an online business. And I had no skills when it came to skincare, nutrition. So basically, on paper, I was the worst person to start this type of business. But I needed something to change in my life. Like, I knew if I didn't make any difference, if I didn't change something in my life, so going back 4 years ago, I knew that 5 years would pass in the blink of an eye. Like, we all know how quickly is it when we vote for the Prime Minister, how quickly is the Olympics, like each one comes around so fast. So I knew that 5 years would speed on past, and I knew if I didn't make any kind of change in my life, 5 years would go, I would be in more debt, I would probably have been divorced from my husband, because we all know what kind of a strain it puts on a marriage, all this financial pressure. I was suffering with depression and anxiety, and every day that was getting worse and worse and worse. I'd lost who I was. I just became a mum and a carer. I'd lost all sight of my identity. My confidence was at rock bottom. So basically, I was in the worst possible situation in my life, and I knew I needed to make a change. So Emma telling me about this was the solution for me. And yeah, I did have worries about setting up a business and learning about skincare and learning about nutrition, but those worries were so insignificant because all I could think about was, what if this works? Like, what if this does work? I could see thousands and thousands and thousands of other people across the world on Facebook making this business work, and they were nothing special. So I was like, if they can do this business, there is absolutely no reason why I can't. If I'm willing to learn, which I am, I'm a hard worker, I'm willing to graft, I'm willing to learn. There's absolutely nothing that can stop you from achieving your dreams if you're willing to put the effort in. And I 100% was. So in answer to your question, Sally, I did have a lot of reservations, but those reservations were so small, and the answer to all my problems was so big that it far outweighed all the worries that I had.
No, absolutely. Okay, so we all know that there's quite a lot of different social marketing businesses out there. Was there anything in particular that attracted you to like Arbonne? Was Arbonne a particular attraction to you, or was it just because Emma had reached out at that point?
So a little bit of both. When Emma reached out to me, it was the first time I'd heard of network marketing, but then I did my research. And what I found was there are thousands and thousands of network marketing companies, much like there are thousands of hairdressers, thousands of childminders. What separates the good from the bad? Because in every industry, you get your good and your bad, regardless as to what it is. Now, I could see that Arbonne were part of this thing called the Direct Selling Association. So if anybody is like me, 4 years ago, I didn't know what that meant, but I looked into it, and this is what it means. And this is what really, really attracted me. So when I'm going to describe this, when you have somebody come to your house that you need that's gas registered, you make sure that they've got like the Corgi certificate, or I think it's called gas safe now. If you have a gas man and they don't have that, they're not a good gas man. They need to have that stamp. Not everybody has that stamp. It's only the people with that stamp that you want in your house. So when I was looking at Arbonne, it had the DSA stamp, which basically is the stamp, the most prestigious, most high-end stamp that network marketing companies can obtain. And the Direct Selling Association will only seal of approval that company if it adheres to the strict standard. So basically it means the best of the best. And out of, I think, 50,000 companies, they only stamp like 200. So that's like how strict it is. Arbonne has this stamp. So I was like, oh my gosh, Arbonne has got the DSA stamp. There's hardly any companies in the UK. I think there's like 4 or 5 in the whole of the UK that have this stamp, and Arbonne's one of it. And what I loved was that Arbonne was in the top 20 globally for network marketing companies. And the fact that it was in the top 20 was already really appealing to me, but it was the only one in that top 20 that hadn't yet globalized. So all the 19 others were in pretty much every country. Arbonne was the only one that was in 4 countries at that time. We're now in 7. So I was like, gosh, this company's got into the top 20 globally, and it's not globalized. Like, I was like, wow. So that was really, really attractive. And the other thing was the culture, because if I was going to do something with my time, it needed to be something that was fun, something where I'm around nice people, positive people that are going to lift me up, help my confidence. So I went to a meeting. I went to a region training, which is a bit like a get together locally. I drove about half an hour to an hour, and I went to this local event. And oh my gosh, Sally, the people that were in there, well, you'll know this because you do Arbonne, but their skin was glowing, their hair was gorgeous. It was like I'd gone to the Oscars. Their makeup was perfect, and their confidence, and they were so warm and welcome, and everyone was so warm and friendly. And it literally was the type of room that I was like, I want to be in this room every single month. Like, these people are just so lovely. This is exactly where I want to be. And so that culture of kindness, and when I joined the business, everyone's like, welcome, welcome, welcome. And people can't do enough for you in the team. They're just so nice. And you know what? Even if I didn't make a business out of this, I would still do Arbonne as a hobby, because the people are exactly the type of people that you want on the group WhatsApp, and you want to be in the group Facebook page, and you want to spend time with, because they're just wonderful, wonderful, nice people. So it was the DSA stamp and the culture that I was like, there is nothing else that even like comes close to how wonderful this company is.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Definitely has a lot of attractions. So moving forward, obviously we discovered Arbonne. Has the company helped you like grow as a person or develop? Obviously, I know you briefly touched upon, you know, where you were 4 years ago. But, you know, is there anything else that you feel this company has done for you?
So people are always really surprised that have only met me in Arbonne, but there are a lot of people that are in the team that knew me pre-Arbonne, and they always confirm this. So pre-Arbonne, I had severe depression and anxiety. I was on loads of medication for it. When I first started Arbonne, I wouldn't even appear on a screen like this. If I was ever going to talk, my camera would be off and I'd be talking with no picture. I was diagnosed with lupus, which actually I was diagnosed with after my daughter had her brain hemorrhage. It was linked. I was on medication for that. I was tired all the time. I was exhausted. I was a really miserable, grumpy person as well. I wasn't fun to be around. And doing Arbonne has not just given us the most amazing financial security, like I cannot even describe how it actually feels to have no money worries, because I was the person 4 years ago that didn't even know how much my car was to fill up with petrol, because I could never afford to fill it up. I only would have like £5 in at a time. So to have this massive transformation financially is incredible. But take that all away, and what this has done for me is grow my confidence. It's grown my self-belief. I talk, like you'll know this, Sally, on stage in front of people. Like I've spoken in front of rooms of hundreds of people before. I never would have done that 4 years ago. The biggest, most important thing for me that Arbonne has enabled me is to like myself. And that probably sounds really cringy, but I really didn't like who I was. 4 years ago, I had these 2 beautiful children that I used to cry every day and think, I'm not the mum that I wanted to be. I'm not the wife that I wanted to be. I'm not the friend that I want to be. This is not the life that I wanted. Like, I was miserable all of the time. I was snappy. I was mardy. And so Arbonne has enabled me to like who I am. I'm a nice person now. I like to help people. I'm able to volunteer. I'm able to give money to charities. And I'm able to make a difference to other people's lives because I like who I am now. And that is what this company does to people. It doesn't just help you in financial ways, although it absolutely does and absolutely can. But the biggest thing that it does is it helps people with their confidence, with their worries, with their stress, some people with depression and anxiety, and they do this business and they just flourish and they're like different people. And they might say, do you know what? I only earn £500 a month from this business, but it doesn't matter to me. You know, I'm not earning thousands and thousands of pounds, but that little amount that I do earn is irrelevant because what it does for me as a person is worth millions. So yeah, my life has totally changed on a personal level.
No, absolutely. And, you know, it's all about learning to love ourselves, I think. And I think that is a massive, you know, game changer for all of us.
Yeah.
Okay, so what would you say to anyone who might be sitting on the fence for joining Arbonne? Because like we briefly said, there are thousands and thousands of social marketing companies out there. You know, some people are a bit like, oh, I'm not sure about doing it. You know, everyone's doing it. Everyone's doing it, so why should I do it? Any advice for them people that, you know, might be sitting on the fence, you know, for joining this business?
So I would say network marketing or social marketing is a phenomenal business. And you know what? I'm probably going to put a spanner in the works and say it isn't for everybody, nor is wanting to learn to drive. It's not for everybody, nor is wanting to have children. It's not for everybody. But do you know what? If you're watching this and your life is giving you everything that you want, you've got total time freedom, you can drop everything and go and watch your children do their nursery nativity play, go and watch your children do sports day, go and be with your parents for afternoon tea, whatever it is, if you can literally drop everything and be exactly where you want to be and not constantly have to say no, and you've got a constant abundance of money coming into your life. They say a good man leaves an inheritance for his children, but a great man leaves an inheritance for his children's children, and like an asset form of income. If you've got everything like that and you're happy and you're able to give back, do you know what? Rock on. Like, that is fantastic. But the sad fact is that's like less than 1% of the population. So for everybody else, we're looking for an answer. Might be different per person. You might be looking for better ways to help with your health. You might be like me and sick and tired of being sick and tired. So you might potentially be looking for something that's going to help your health. You might be somebody that might not go to sleep worrying about the wrinkles on your face, but my gosh, you're worried about your financial situation. And that is a lot of it, is go to sleep worrying and stressing about how we're going to pay the bills. We get paid at the beginning of the month. It lasts 2.5 weeks, and then you've got a week and a half left at the end of the month where there's just no money. There's too much month, not enough money. You know, it's a big portion of it. So if you're watching it and that's you, gosh, I can totally relate to you where I was 4 years ago. Or you might be watching this and thinking, money's not a problem, my spouse works and I'm a stay-at-home parent, so I'm not worried about money, I'm not worried about time, but I've lost me, I've lost who I am, I'm just wife and mum or husband and dad, and I've kind of got myself into this rut, and I need something where I've got a wonderful dress in the wardrobe upstairs that I never get an opportunity to wear, and I want to wear it, and I want to go and speak on stage, and I want to go to an event, and I want to go and have loads of new friends and have loads of fun. You know, whatever it is that you're looking for in your life right now, I just want you to think, are you going to get the solution for that doing something else? Because for me, there was no other solution for me 4 years ago when I had my problems laid on a plate in front of Emma at a coffee date. I told her all my problems, and she kind of said to me, the solution could be Arbonne. Is there anything else that's going to be a solution for you? And I was like, no, there really isn't. So this was the absolute solution for me, and it could be for you. This business can help you financially. It can help you on a personal level with your health. It can help you gain your identity and have fun again and be a part of something that is absolutely epic. So if you're watching this, my advice is think about what it is that you need more of in your life. If you do, you might be A-okay. You might be in that less than 1% population. And if you are, brilliant. But if you're 99% of the population and you're looking for something else in your life, is this going to give you it? Chances are it probably is, because it has done for thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people. I'm not going to sit here and say start an Arbonne business and you're going to become a millionaire overnight. You know, it is a business. You do have to do something with it. But the point is, you get taught everything that you need to make this successful. Sally's the most amazing person at helping people get started in the business and mentor them for success. She's incredible. So you can earn as you learn. You can get involved as you learn everything. And so my last final advice is, why not? Like, what? It sounds so simple, but why not? You've got absolutely nothing to lose. I didn't, and I've had everything to gain. And I'm not just talking about the money. I'm talking about the friends, the people, the fun, the things you learn. It's like a university degree of things that you learn for free about skincare and nutrition. I honestly feel like a fully qualified nutritionist and skincare expert and makeup artist. And I'm none of those things. But what you learn in this business, you feel so full of knowledge, and it's so rewarding and fulfilling. It is just pure happiness.
Oh, amazing. So final question, Danny, if you wouldn't mind. So we've spoke about, you know, the 0.1% of people that, you know, might not need this business, but for the 99% that might have a need somewhere, that, you know, they want to join and they might be like, but I'm not a salesperson, I don't know enough people, you know, I don't know how, I don't have the confidence to do that. Is there anything that you might say to them just to, you know, encourage them to give it a go?
I would say every single person that starts any kind of business, not just an Arbonne business. My husband's a tiler, so when he became a tiler, he was concerned about not knowing enough people. All of his friends and families already had their kitchens and bathrooms tiled, so he knew he was going to have to network with new people, like you do in any business. If you become a childminder, you can't rely on your friends and family to place their children in your care. You kind of have to network with new people, same as any business. So I would say every person that starts any business has worries. So if you're sat here watching this thinking Arbonne is the answer to everything that I want, but I'm worried about whatever, all of those things Sally's just said, you're not on your own. Everybody has worries, and that's just business. I would say in Arbonne, the great thing is you're self-employed and you're in business for yourself, but you're not on your own. You've got a team of people around you that literally can spoon feed you, if that's what you so wish, to learn everything. Whereas when my husband became a tiler, he was in business by himself and all by himself. There was no team of people to say, right, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. Here's this training call. Here's this, here's this, here's this, here's this update. Like none of that. He was all by himself. And if you're watching this and you're in business by yourself, maybe you're a makeup artist or a hairdresser or whatever it is, you know that, you know, you're in business for yourself and you're all by yourself. In Arbonne, you've got the same worries that you would in any industry, but you've got a whole host of people that are there to guide you and say, oh my gosh, yeah, I felt like that. All of my friends and family already had their kitchens and bathrooms tiled, so this is what I did. Or all of my friends and family didn't shower, didn't use toothpaste and deodorant, so this is what I did about this. Like, you've got an abundance of people giving you and imparting their wisdom and their knowledge. Some people have been in this business for over 30 years and they'll just share with you what they've learned. Like, that is amazing. Like, you just couldn't pay for that wisdom and that knowledge. So if you've got any worries, I'm not going to be able to say anything that's going to get those worries away, because you're going to have them regardless. And to be honest, in business, you have worries all the time. They just change, different worries, and they just change. But you're not on your own. You've got somebody there that's got your back. In fact, you've got a whole team of people that's got your back. So pop those worries to one side, like I did, make them so small, and your solution and the reason why you want to do this so big that they just go to the back of your mind. And yeah, they're there, but they're not at the forefront. They're not taking over. It's you guiding the way and being like, this is going to answer all of our prayers. This is the winning lottery ticket that we've been looking for.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Danny, and thank you so much for answering all the questions that people have kind of put to me. I think it's just great hearing from somebody else rather than just myself kind of saying these things. So I hope you have a fantastic evening, and thank you so much for giving up your time to do this interview.
Thank you, Sally.